New vocab word here, collinear, means on the same line. Hopefully you can see the word line in collinear, and that'll help you remember it. So if we look at this diagram here, we could say A, B, and C, these points are collinear since they're on the same line. So similarly, when we're talking about things that are on the same plane, we call this coplanar. We can kind of see the word plane within coplanar. So here, points E, D, and F are coplanar since they're on this same plane. A line segment consists of two endpoints. Here's our line segment. Here are the endpoints A and B. And infinitely many collinear points. So even though it has two endpoints, there's really infinitely many points that we can squeeze in there that are on the same line. They're collinear. We can write line segment AB using a symbol. So the endpoints are AB. We're going to use just the line segment notation. Notice there's no arrows because it ends. Or you could say this line segment is named BA. The order of the endpoints don't matter. If we're talking about the length of the segment, there's two different ways we can write this. We can say segment AB equals 2 inches. Or we could say the measure of segment AB equals 2 inches. And we'll see this little m a lot this year, and it just stands for measure. So the measure of segment AB is 2 inches. Two segments are congruent segments if and only if they have the same measure or length. We have a new symbol for congruence. It looks like an equal sign with a little squiggle on top. And if you see that symbol, we read it as is congruent to. You use the equal symbol between equal numbers. And the congruent symbol between congruent figures or shapes. When drawing figures, you show congruent segments by making identical markings. So this segment here with a single tick mark or a single dash mark means that segment CD with one tick mark on it is congruent to segment CA since it has one tick mark on it. Over here, if we look at segment SP, since it has two tick marks on it, it's congruent to segment RQ since it has two tick marks. Then segment SR with 1, 2, 3 tick marks is not congruent to SP or to RQ. It's only congruent to PQ since they have the same amount of tick marks. When drawing figures, just kidding, we just did that. Here we're looking at rays. Ray AB is part of a line that contains point A and all the points that are on the same side of point A as point B. Imagine cutting off all the points to the left of point A. That's what this figure is showing. You could cover it up with your hand and you would just be left with this ray. In the figure below, or above actually, ray AY and ray AB are the two ways to name the same ray. Note that it's not the same as ray BA. So some properties here, there's one endpoint. The ray stops at one end. It has infinite length. At the other end, it goes on and on and on forever. And there's no thickness. Just like a line would have no thickness, a ray has no thickness. We use two capital letters, just like naming a line, and the symbol has just one side with an arrow. That arrow always points to the right. If you don't want to use the symbols, you could say ray AB. So we use two capital letters, just like we did with the line. And the dimensions, it just has one dimension. It has length. A ray begins at a point and extends infinitely in one direction. You need two letters to name a ray. The first letter is the endpoint of the ray. And the second letter is any other point that the ray passes through. Note that the ray above the letters always points to the right. Super important. So here our endpoint is A, it goes through point B. We could call this ray AB. And this ray here, the endpoint is really B, and it goes through point A, still to the right. What a lot of you will try to do